Welcome to a Prevent Connect podcast, where we explore the prevention of violence against women. This is a project of the California Coalition Against Sexual Assault.
Hello, everyone. So I'm Maya, and I'm part of a team of TA providers at TASA, and we use an anti-oppression framework to address the root causes of sexual violence. So we draw inspiration from Hooks, Anzaldúa, Freire, from their pedagogies and their theories, and we know that process is important. So Freire writes, leaders who do not act dialogically but insist on imposing their decisions do not organize the people, they manipulate them. They do not liberate, nor are they liberated, they oppress. And we did a decent job of putting that into practice at our trainings. So this is a visual representation of some qualitative data that we got back from prevention workers around our trainings and gatherings, and you can see the two biggest squares. They reported that they felt a sense of connection and community, and they achieved a space to share ideas and strategies. But we were not so great at putting that into practice in our TA, where we felt there was an imperative to reach a certain understanding, and we didn't have the benefit of a group dynamic. So in our TA, there was this implied script where we were the TA providers and we would help implementers understand theory and principles and put them into practice. And it was disseminating a particular type of knowledge, a hierarchy of knowledge. We would help them. We were the experts. So one day in 2014, we were comparing notes with our sister coalition, and they were sharing the success that they had around coaching groups, and it was centered around peer-supported learning, and I was inspired. It really challenged me to think critically about how we thought that change happened and the way that we were actually delivering our TA. Our TA was interactive, it was specialized, but that really wasn't enough, and this is why. So this is Texas. We have all the things. It has urban, it has suburban, it has rural, it has frontier, it has colonias. We have deserts, we have pine forests. We are the land of Beyonce and Selena and the Dixie Chicks and the Branch Davidians and NASA and Ted Cruz and Wendy Davis. So we know a lot of things as TA providers, but we don't know all the things. So ultimately, I know my Texas, I don't know their Texas. And I would hear similar challenges around the state, and I would want to connect these prevention workers so that they could share their expertise and really come together about the most appropriate way to handle their unique yet often similar roadblocks, to share ideas and strategies as a means of TA. And Hooks writes, to teach in varied communities, not only our paradigms must shift, but also the way that we think, write, and speak. The engaged voice must never be fixed and absolute, but always changing, always evolving, in dialogue with the world beyond itself. So to adapt to these different Texases, we needed a different approach. Prevention workers are experts too. They know their communities, and their expertise is important. So instead of reinforcing that script, where we have the knowledge to give to them, we flipped it and we invited them to form a bridge to share their expertise through virtual communities of practice. And now Denise will tell you more about those communities of practice.
Hi, I'm Denise. And so I'm a planner. I like the planning. The planning makes me really happy. However, going back to the paradigm that Maya just mentioned, turns out it also applies to the way that we planned our activities. And so for me, panic really set in. So thinking back to the inspirations we had on critical pedagogy, I thought back to Anzaldúa, and Anzaldúa writes, Caminante no hay puentes, se hace puentes al andar. Voyager, there are no bridges. One makes bridges as one walks. I had to learn to trust the process. Sometimes not having a plan is the best plan. And so, while learning to trust the process definitely took some time, doing so led to these incredible things. Folks in the field were starting to have conversations where they were candidly sharing what was and what wasn't working for them, how they were responding, and how they were adapting to meet the needs of their community. In essence, we were seeing data-informed and evidence-based practices as they were emerging. Now, while we were excited about what we were seeing, we had to check in to see if others were having similar experiences. And when we did, what we found was that in some ways, these virtual communities had replicated what had previously only been happening during our in-person trainings and gatherings. What we also found was that the sense of community and connection was growing. We were building on our protective factors. An open exchange of ideas and strategies was also happening during our sessions. We had, in fact, flipped the TA script. We proved beyond a doubt we were not the experts. We did not have all the answers, and we did not know all the things. Eventually, we got to a point where we needed a venue to share all of our tools. Our recordings of the sessions, the adaptations to curricula and activities. What we were doing as a learning community was cultivating our own libraries of shared resources. We were developing and testing prevention strategies in a way that took its direction from the very communities we served. So given our success, what can you expect to learn about during our roundtable discussions? First and foremost, we'll share with you our experiences with virtual communities built around different aspects of programming, and we'll share our general guidelines insofar as they've worked for us in establishing these communities. We'll also share how we cultivated relationships with each other and how we supported the communities as they continued evolving and developing new prevention strategies. Another critical thinker on pedagogy, one from our very own community of prevention workers, said it best. I really appreciate being able to chat with folks who are working toward the same goals under very different circumstances. I think that having a chance to hear other perspectives is immensely valuable. It builds a great sense of community and support. And so if you're ready to be inspired and start thinking critically about different ways that you can flip the TA script in your own communities, join Maya and I for our roundtable discussion. It'll be fun, I promise. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this Prevent Connect podcast. Prevent Connect is a project of the California Coalition Against Sexual Assault, with funding from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. The views presented on Prevent Connect are not necessarily the views of the United States government, the CDC, or CalCASA. To learn more about Prevent Connect, visit www.preventconnect.org. For more information about CalCASA's mission, or to show your support, visit calcasa.org. That's CALCASA.org.